Last time on a comically long review.
Did you know that we already got a sequel to that movie? Yes, a continuation to the story that we were all so fond of. Now, you're probably wondering how you missed that. That's because it wasn't a movie. And today, I've got a graphic novel for you. Power Rangers Aftershock.
And now, the conclusion.
Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. If you are watching this video, a part 2 video, I'm assuming you know what we're looking at and where we are in the story. If not, you may want to go back and watch the part 1 video. Assuming you're still around, let's take a look at the second part of Power Rangers Aftershock. This very nice single splash page of the two criminals transitions hard cut style into their backstory. Basically, there was an accident that I'm guessing killed their father. They became homeless after this, so the two kids turned to theft to stay alive. Eventually, they were caught, arrested, and likely sent to prison in Angel Grove. The flashback ends with them thinking that they've been offered what they never truly had, power, and all they have to do in exchange is take out the Power Rangers. So you take the big ugly and I get the girl. That seems fair, right? Red Ranger to Alpha 5. I need a 3-point convergence zone. All points at this location. This is both a good thing and incredibly weird. The weird thing is Kim, a character we've seen through the movie and this as being headstrong and confident, letting Jason take on the big monster while she agrees to fight a human being. The line comes off as so weird that Jason seems to just ignore it, which is the good part, even if it wasn't intended. Realizing she's basically useless in this fight, Aubrey asks where it is, implying that would give her the power to help. He says he feels that it's close and sends her down under the building, then fighting Kim and Jason and saying this all feels familiar. Kim leaps to Jacob, now apparently willing to fight the big guy, saying she can't let him endanger the innocent. Jacob thinks endangering the innocent is a great idea and throws a radiator at a crowd of people. Instead of, moving, the people just stand there. Kim has an idea. Ultimate Frisbee. She throws a manhole cover at the radiator, knocking it surely into another crowd of people staring dumbly with cell phones. But, as Jacob says, no good deed goes unpunished, and he gets the jump on the two. Aubrey, meanwhile, finds the putty in the tunnel and touches it, but nothing happens. Next scene! Back to Jacob, as he says he remembers being giant-sized and fighting them, and them being a lot tougher. Zack finally shows up, and Jacob welcomes him to the battle. Jacob goes baseball slugger on Zack, or maybe it's more of a hockey slap shot as Zack goes, "Ho!" when he gets hit. Kim decides that she likes using the manhole cover as a weapon, smacking Jacob in the back of the head with it. The team regroups as Billy and Trini show up. Jacob says this feels right, but immediately his sister returns and says something is wrong. He thinks he knows what is wrong and swats some pillars at the Rangers. They run, and Billy suggests the triangle of life. Basically, if you hunker down against an object that is taller than you, the debris that would have landed on you has to go over the tall wall or whatever thing you're hiding against, which creates a small triangle of safety. It works, I guess. They have to crawl out of the rubble, but they did survive. And I just realized that Jacob wasn't swatting pillars at them, he was knocking over an entire building. Anyway, the Rangers head back to the base ship and basically accuse Zordon of keeping information from them, despite the fact this is all just happening now. So basically, the Goldar dust that has been reanimating the Putties is infused with Rita's power and her desire to find and destroy the Zeo Crystal. Now that Rita is gone, the sentience of the dust is fading, so it needed to find new hosts and a new purpose. Billy explains that he knows the two, the Hogan Twins. I get that one's a boy and the other's a girl, but Jacob is significantly larger than Aubrey, and I didn't get a twin vibe from them. Anyway, their dads died in the same mining accident, and he says they've had a rough life. Jason doesn't care. He tells the Rangers to split up and search the city for them. Trini points out this isn't a great plan since the 5 of them didn't do so hot last time. Jason doesn't take well to having his orders questioned and storms off like an idiot.
Everybody betrayed me. I'm fed up with this world.
Zordon tells the other Rangers that tensions are high and they can just go and get some rest. Do homework, whatever. With all of them gone, Zordon tells Alpha that he once missed a fundamental character flaw in a Ranger, referring to Rita, and now he's ahead in a wall because of it. Alpha basically tells him to relax. These Rangers are kids and they're going to make mistakes. And if they survive them, they'll get stronger.
What doesn't kill you makes a fighter. What stops even lighter?
We get a weird scene next that I think is meant to imply growing trust between the police chief and Melanie, whose name I had the hardest time remembering when I was writing this script for some reason. Basically, the chief is tired of the disaster zones, Melanie has set up some more medical centers, power of the human spirit, etc., etc. Melanie takes another worker, soldier, whatever, and starts exploring a tunnel. She says they have 10 minutes before the chief realizes they're not hunting for survivors. Yes, because finding survivors hidden in long underground tunnels only takes 10 minutes. Another of Melanie's subordinates says they found drag marks showing something was taken away from the tunnel, but a hand was left behind. Geez, gives brand new meaning to the "let me lend you a hand" gag. Showing what smart, intelligent criminals they are, the Hogan Twins, and now I find myself wondering if they're referred to as the Hogan Twins just so the scriptwriters could write that easily in the script, it sure helped me out, took their prize, another putty body, right back to the Heavenly Hills sawmill. Aubrey explains to Jacob that it didn't work, and now she's the nervous one, saying if this isn't going to work, they should get out of Dodge. Jacob can sense that it is alive, it's just asleep, so he touches it and wakes it up. It surges towards Aubrey, and while at first she's scared, she quickly comes to call the transformation beautiful. Energy ripples between them, which I guess means that the two of them make each other stronger, especially as Jacob says he nearly finished the Rangers off himself, but together it'll be easy. Aubrey has even bigger plans, like skyscraper size. Back at the base ship, the Rangers have demorphed and are leaving, but apparently Jason stopped after storming off to talk to them. Jason admits to the Rangers that he's been making all of this up as he goes along. All those command phrases I used, I looked them up online. Flank, counter, no idea what they mean. And yes, they sound dumb to me too. I'm guessing Jason doesn't really play much Call of Duty. Jason is terrified every time they go into battle. Not that he will get hurt, but he's going to get one of them hurt. Zack asks him if he's going to quit, but he says no, just that he's not going to be pretending anymore. He'll lead them the best way that he knows how. He asks if they're down to help him, but Alpha calls and says he needs them back inside the ship. In what's really a beautiful splash page in a dark sort of way, we see a giant, rather mechanized looking creature. We come to see in the next page, where the shot is slightly more zoomed out, which gives this a weird visual echo effect, that this is a combined form of the Hogan Twins. It actually occurs to me that the Putties form from any material they have around them, and the two of them were inside a sawmill, so they look so mechanical because they absorbed a whole bunch of saw blades. Jacob wants to head for the refugee camp, basically punishing the people, but Aubrey says they should just make a mess in the city first, hating the entire city and just wanting to wreck it. But, as you can see here, 5 lights come from the sky.
There are 4 lights!
No, Captain, this time there actually are 5 lights. Jason tells them to stand down, though his outside the Zord voice bubble was so light red that I thought it was pink, and therefore thought Kim was talking. Next is a 2-page splash of the Rangers' Zords entering the battle. Kim says she's still learning to fly her Zord, so a quick end to this would be good. Once again, oddly enough from Kimberly, I do not like this line. 1, it's always implied that the Rangers gain instinctive abilities from morphing, including how to pilot their Zords. 2, it's been at least a few weeks, and this story implies that the Rangers have been fighting every couple of days. Sure, maybe they haven't needed to use their Zords since their very first battle, but they have been training, right? This is our home. If anyone's going to destroy it, it's going to be us. This line doesn't make any sense. It's like she's accusing the Rangers of destroying the city. And I can see where that's coming from in a way. The Chief had a line earlier about aliens and superheroes throwing each other through buildings, but that really hasn't been a strong theme of this. And I really doubt Aubrey would even feel like Angel Grove was her home. Trini calls it the giant robot equivalent of throwing a drink in your face.
Your words cause me curious mind pain.
The Rangers' individual Zords are no match, just getting thrown and beaten around. A cool part is Zack pins to a building, and it responds by basically tearing its arm off and growing a new one. Jason says the team is in trouble, and this time his communication bubble looked almost orange to me, which definitely made me double take. Zack and Kim throw two different ideas at him at the same time. Zack wants to have all the Zords hit the creature at one time, while Kim says it's now heading for the refugee camp, so they need to go protect it. Trini serves as the voice of reason here, telling Jason they only have time to do one. He's their leader. Make the call. He tells everyone to form in on him. The creature gets to the camp, but the Rangers show up, now in their Megazord. This giant fight ends really anticlimactically as the Megazord pins the creature to a building by its chest, slices away at it, calling it a few alterations, and then cuts off its head. Kim points out that they can just make a new one, but Billy references how Zordon says the gold dust is an alloy in flux, and thinks he knows how to end this. Excuse me, on behalf of the city and Power Rangers, I think that should be the Power Rangers, and it would still be self-referential, I've been sent to accept your surrender and generally make fun of you. You know, this line is kind of funny, but the entire team now knows the backstory of these two. It feels kind of insensitive, like he's being a dick. And the thing is, Zack doubles down on it. He says he's going to protect the innocent from them. Aubrey says this city is far from innocent, talking again about how they were homeless, begging for food and money, and nobody cared. But Angel Grove gets attacked, and oh, here comes all the aid. Please, pity party, table for two. A rough life doesn't give you an excuse to hurt people. I mean, that's true, but show a little sympathy. Does it occur to you for 1 second that you could diffuse the situation by showing some understanding? Maybe even promising to get them some help? I mean, we're going to see that the police don't exactly like the Power Rangers, but you would imagine that they could still get these two to some resources. But that's okay because they're about to be electrocuted anyway. Those words were apparently a cue to Kim and Jason, though I'm not sure exactly what they were waiting for, as they pull down some active power lines and zap the two. There's a boom, indicating the two exploded, and Zack gets Kim out of the way of some debris. But then we see Melanie, I remembered her name by this point, and the Chief, Colton by the way, I just figured that calling him the Chief was easier, searching the battle zone for the two, and finding them frozen solid. Careful, we don't know what the hell this all means. It means we won. The Rangers explained that they used electrocrystallization to phase the liquid, I guess the fluid form of the putties, the dust was what they were saying the problem was, into a solid state. The Chief has the stereotypical the heroes caused the problem attitude, saying Angel Grove has been a war zone ever since the Power Rangers showed up. This trope makes no sense, because the villains always show up first. Rita was murdering people in Angel Grove before the Power Rangers showed up. Goldar was stomping around Angel Grove before the Rangers brought out their Zords. Melanie helpfully volunteers to house the two in their facilities since the cops are stretched pretty thin. The Chief has a different idea. They can take the two, and then Samaritan Relief can clear the hell out. I'm not an idiot, doll. I've overlooked whatever you and yours are up to because I thought it might get my people some help. But you're dangerous. Melanie plays dumb, saying they are only there to help, And suddenly, Kim and Trini are talking. This comic has some real issues with transitions. Kim thanks Trini for making Jason focus and says he's kind of sensitive and needs to know that his team is behind him. But Trini says that's not how she operates. If you're family to Trini, you're not all rah rah rah. You question them, annoy them, and pester them until they get better. So what you're saying is that you care about all of us? You know me. Go go Power Rangers. Jason monologues again about how his team is coming together. Alpha calls at a really bad time for Billy, who is visiting his father's grave, saying he's detecting massive Putty activity. It feels like a good spot for this all to end. The team has come together, grown stronger, and the fight goes on. However, this is not the end. The Rangers head to the docks, but they don't see any Putties there. Massive Putty activity, huh, Alpha? They just find a hand in a jar. Two things to point out here. One, when Melanie's team found that earlier, it was down almost to the elbow, so they've trimmed this thing for some reason. And two, the glow it's giving off makes Zack look a bit like the Green Ranger. Billy realizes it's a trap just as soldiers circle them. It's Melanie, but she says she just wants to talk. Billy even tells Jason that they can take these soldiers and just to say the word. No, say no words. We're not here for a fight. At least not yet. Melanie tells the Rangers that she works for Apex. Oh man, Billy mentioned them. Dark web stuff. Scary. Billy is also 3 feet to your side and could have just said that himself. Jason asks what her deal is, and she says that she is representing the United States government, who appreciates their efforts so far, but really doesn't appreciate aliens fighting to protect them with no oversight whatsoever. Maybe if we had some kind of Ranger Registration Act? The Rangers basically tell her that they're not going to respond to threats and they don't work for her. She snaps away her soldiers. A well-trained unit or Thanos-like powers? You make the call. And warns the Rangers that one step out of line will bring her back with bigger toys next time. She tells them to keep the hand since she's got the Hogan Twins. So until you screw up, remember, I'll be watching. The book ends with a preview of MMPR Volume 1, which is actually issue number 0 in its entirety. That's a pretty generous preview. Power Rangers Aftershock is definitely one of the more interesting reviews, especially comic reviews, that I've done because my opinion changed pretty significantly. When I first got this, I knew it was going to be a while before I was ready to review it, so I just went ahead and read it, and I really enjoyed it. After a second read, this time using my reviewing eyes, I spotted a lot more issues than I did the first time. The one that really sticks out to me is transitions or lack thereof. I suppose that makes it more like a movie as the scenes just cut around, but there are multiple times where we cut to the same place just looking at different people. The slightest little box saying a few hours later does wonders to not make that feel so sudden and jarring. Also, I have an issue that I had with the movie itself. Far too much talking. I know that's an ironic problem for someone who has done 30-minute reviews of 24-minute TV episodes, but there just wasn't enough action here. There were a number of times I was tempted to say, long story short, or summing this all up. Finally, there's character stuff for the Rangers, but it really only gets resolved for Jason. Zack doubted himself because someone almost died, and that doesn't really go anywhere because the next time we see him, he's basically talking smack to the bad guys. Kim and Jason hint at a relationship, and that goes nowhere. Billy doesn't really get any character development, and Trini is basically just portrayed as the only person who actually has a good head on her shoulders. But that doesn't mean this was bad. First of all, the Rangers' suits look even better on comic pages. Not sure what it is, maybe that since they are drawn and the surroundings are drawn, they contrast less than in a movie where the suits were CG, but the surroundings were real life. The action we do get is pretty good. I like the Zord fight especially. I always like seeing the Zords fight on their own first. The story is also good on its own, feeling sort of like an episode of the movie series, if that makes any sense. There's a subtle moral message about teamwork that still comes through. The weirdest thing about this to me is that we get a sequel hook. By the time this came out, it was already sort of questionable if the movie was getting a cinematic sequel or not, and it's been over a year since this came out, and there's been no signs of getting a graphic novel sequel. My best guess is that they did this to try to tie into the second film, maybe not required reading, but setting up characters like Melanie and organizations like Apex and them knowing who the Rangers are, but the audience will get that explained later in a second film. So overall, I thought this was a pretty good, entertaining story, but with some significant flaws. Aftershock gets a 3.5 out of 5. Next time, we're going to be taking a step back even further in time, and time is related to what we'll be talking about. Successful ongoing comic series tend to start coming out with annual issues, which are little tangential side stories, funny what if, stuff that's not even really related to your core storyline in your comic. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has come out with 3 of those, the most recent being the 2018 annual, which was related to the Shattered Grid story. I do plan on reviewing that, but I figured if I'm going to do that one, I should take care of the other 2 first. Next time on a Comically Long review, the 2016 and 2017 MMPR annuals. That is going to wrap up another Comically Long review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. In the comments below, now you can let me know what you thought of the entire Power Rangers Aftershock graphic novel, as well as my review of it. Make sure to like the video by clicking that like button right down below. Subscribe to the channel to see all of my videos and ring that bell. Get your notifications set up so you are notified whenever I post brand new videos, just like these Comically Long review videos. And in these Aftershock videos, in lieu of asking you to donate to my digital tip jar, I'd like you heroes to head over to extra-life.org, look up Ranger Liz, join her team Ranger Nation, and donate to her charitable support of the Children's Hospital of St. Louis. It's a great cause and something I definitely think you folks should be supporting. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. They became homeless after this, so the 2 kids eventually... The flashback ends with them thinking that they've never... This line is both good... Realizing that she's basically useless in this fight, Aubrey asks where it is. Realizing she's basically useless, Aubrey asks where it is, implying that that would give her the power to help. Back to Jacob, as he says remembering being giant-sized and fighting them is something that... Trini points out that this isn't really a great plan, seeing the... Alpha basically tells him to relax. These Rangers are kids, and they're going to make mistakes. Probably just an Amber Alert, but... It was a test. It actually helped me out writing this review. I mean, yes, that's true, but show a little sympathy? Does it occur to you to once... Careful, we don't know what the hell all this means. Careful, we don't know what the hell this all means. The Rangers explain that they use the electrocrystallization. Alpha calls at a really bad time for Billy, who is Billy? I'm not sure what it is. Maybe that since I always like seeing the Rangers act on their own, and always like seeing the Zords fight on... I didn't say that right. Aftershock gets 3.5 stars out of 5. I don't use stars to rate comics. Aftershock gets 3.5, Successful ongoing comic lines tend to start coming out with annual. Next time, we're going to be taking a step back even further in time, and time is related to this video. Successful ongoing comic series And for this Aftershock video, in lieu of asking you to donate to my digital tip jar, I'm instead asking you to go over to extra-life.org, look up Ranger Liz, join her team Ranger Nation, and toss some support, some